So ground beef just hit its highest price ever in American history. The thing that most of us rely on for burgers, tacos, and spaghetti night.
This whole cost of living is actually a joke. I did my grocery shop last week and I feel like I have nothing left. And I'm like, I don't want to do a shop for this next week. So I'm going to stretch my food. Do you guys want to see what I end up eating? Because I'm not doing a grocery shop. I can't afford it. I don't have money for it. So do you guys want to see what I eat in a week?
Have you ever thought that in a prosperous, developed country like America, the day might come when even buying a piece of beef becomes a luxury? A new outfit for your kids has become something you have to think twice about. And people saw this coming. In 2024, alone more than 7,300 stores across the United States closed, and that number was once projected to climb as high as 15,000. Behind all of this is a painful reality when customers are forced to cut back on spending. Many stores no longer bring in enough revenue to stay open. 95% of Americans say they hunt for sales because they cannot afford to pay full price. The cost of a simple grocery run has now reached its highest level in 40 years, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. In this video, I am going to walk you through the real reason Americans are buying less food, and behind that are signs that the US economy is changing dramatically from the inside. But no news outlet dares to tell the whole story. Watch this video all the way through and I will tell you what could happen next and what your family can do to protect your budget. Maybe it isn't just me. You've probably noticed it too. Food prices are shooting up at a dizzying pace. $100 worth of groceries barely gets you anything now. You're not buying luxury items or choosing premium cuts of meat. You're just picking up the same things your family uses every week. But when you look down at the cart, there's clearly less food in it than there used to be. I know. Everybody's cutting back, switching things out, hunting for deals, and learning how to adjust. But then I saw this video and had to ask myself, are we actually getting the amount of food we paid for?
700 gram netto! Helvete, over 30 gram i svinn på ett där och Jansberg, skärp dock, det går fan i John. Jag betalar dyrt för en ost när jag har lust att spisa 700 gram när det står.
In the clip, a man buys a package of cheese at the supermarket. The package says 700 grams, but when he puts the remaining cheese on the scale, it comes out to only about 670 grams. So where did the other 30 grams go? Moisture loss. A bad scale. Or was it just a number that was never inside the package in the first place? I know 30 grams doesn't sound like much. The scale might not be accurate. Cheese can change in weight. And since the package had already been opened, we also can't rule out the possibility that some of it was used before the video was recorded. So I can't draw a conclusion from a video like this. But with food as expensive as it is now, should buyers really have to tell themselves it's only 30 grams and move on? Maybe you still think this is just a small difference, or maybe you simply don't believe the man in the video. But the next case makes the question much harder to ignore.
This is the second time this happened to me. Feel how heavy this is. Feel how heavy this is. Okay. How come this is supposed to be a lot heavier because it's got more weight on it than this one? This one's 1802. I put this on the scale. It's at 4.3 pounds or something. It has on here at 6.17. This is the second time this happened to me, but fortunately I caught it this time before.
I have to stop here for a moment, because now we're not talking about a few grams anymore. According to the buyer, the shortage could be several pounds of meat. And he also says this is the second time something like this has happened to him. The only difference is that this time he caught it before he got home. Was the scale wrong and was the label printed incorrectly? Or did the weight change after it was packaged? We don't know yet. But the third case gives us an even clearer comparison.
0.78 pounds. 2.2 pounds. 4.78. 2.2. Let's look at the other one. 4.9. 2 pounds. Walmart is getting us.
Did you see what I just saw? The first package costs $23.76. Since the label says it weighs 4.78 pounds, the buyer thinks he's paying about $4.97 per pound. But if the package really weighs only 2.2 pounds, that amount of meat should cost about $10.94. The customer paid $23.76. That's a difference of about $12.82, and the actual price jumps to nearly $10.80 per pound. And we're smart enough to know that your family could use that $12 for more eggs, a few slices of bread, or at least some snacks for the kids after school. Some people say the meat lost water and the absorbent pad soaked up the moisture fine, But going from 4.78 pounds down to 2.2 pounds means nearly 54% is missing, while the buyer is weighing the tray, the plastic wrap, and the pad too. If half the package of meat can evaporate on the way to the supermarket, then maybe we have another problem that needs an explanation. This isn't an official inspection, but these 3 cases give us every right to ask where was the label created and who checked it. With pre-packaged meat, the product may be weighed, portioned, and labeled at the plant, then shipped by the case to the store. Employees simply open the cases and put the packages on the shelf. They don't weigh every package again. The register just reads the number already printed on the label. So if the label's wrong, who gets the difference? Walmart, the supplier. Or both sides using the same data without catching the error. Right now we don't have the contracts or accounting records that would show how the supplier and retailers settle payments with each other. So I'm not going to guess who benefits. But the buyer knows this. Their card still gets charged the full amount. And even if the supermarket later refunds one package, that can't restore trust in all the packages they bought before. And what the chains did next made the shopping experience even more frustrating. And once you start questioning the number on the label, it's hard not to look more closely at what's actually inside the package. Does it still look like the food we think we're buying? Is it still fresh, or are we paying more and more for a product designed to look good, be convenient, and sit on the shelf for a very long time? The next video made me take another look at a prepared food that seems completely ordinary.
Like, this is supposed to be pork. This is straight meat.
And like, bro, this shit don't melt, but instead it just turned black.
It's foul, and it has like this blue kind of tinge to it. It's almost like...
Do you see that texture? It doesn't look like something that was just cooked or freshly prepared. It stretches and breaks apart in a way that makes you wonder what exactly is in this. Maybe we should stop calling everything fresh and delicious just because the package has a picture of a green field and a few leaves on it. Of course, a strange texture doesn't automatically mean the product is dangerous. Freezing, grinding, mixing, or heating can all change food, but buyers still have the right to ask why what they bring home looks so different from the picture on the box. And the next question isn't just whether it looks appetizing, but how much nutrition it actually provides. A food can have a lot of calories and still not feel like a real meal. Big package, small serving, strong flavor, but you still have to look for something else after you finish it. So are we buying food? Or are we buying a few minutes of convenience and then paying again because we're still hungry? But I don't want to turn convenience food into the enemy either. People who work the night shift, single parents, or people working 2 jobs don't buy it because they're lazy. They buy it because there are only so many hours in a day. Convenience isn't the problem. The problem is when buyers have to pay more and more for a product that's smaller, makes them question the quality and still doesn't provide enough nutritional value. And the strange texture is only part of the story.
It's before that date, so this bread was opened probably about a month and a half ago. Just gonna pull a slice out here, and it is not stale. It is floppy, it smells like bread, it looks like bread, there's no mold on it. This looks identical to when we first opened it up, and it's been open for like a month and a half. Now, how is this bread that I'm not gonna eat still good after like 2 months of being opened? Preservatives, stuff that's thrown into food to keep it better.
At a glance, it still looks completely normal. And that's exactly what makes people unsure whether they should feel reassured or worried. A food that can last longer than a few New Year's diet resolutions is certainly a technical achievement. But is that really what a family wants from a meal? The fact that it can sit around for a long time without going bad doesn't automatically mean it's toxic. Sealed packaging, freezing, moisture control, and many legal preservation methods can all extend shelf life. But buyers have the right to know what helps the product stay that way for so long: the packaging method, temperature, moisture level, or added ingredients. And maybe that's why more people are starting to go back to simpler foods: eggs, rice, beans, potatoes, vegetables, and ingredients that can be turned into several meals. Not because they're more glamorous, but because when you look at them, you know what you're eating. When a bag of snacks costs almost as much as the ingredients for an entire dinner, buyers start doing a very practical calculation which one will keep the family full longer. High prices may be the first push. Health and nutrition are what make the new habits stick. But let's not romanticize this. Vegetables, meat, eggs, and fruit are expensive too. Real food may be better on a meal-by-meal basis, but it isn't always easy to buy, easy to cook, or easy to store. And there's a huge gap between saying, I don't want to buy it anymore, and saying I can't afford to buy it anymore. Right, when people have to calculate every item this carefully, promotions should be helping them breathe a little easier. But strangely enough, deals that are actually useful are becoming harder and harder to find.
Colgate coupon, totally gone, disappeared. I don't know what's going on with that. Number 3, the always $3 Target Circle offer is apparently gone, and now there's only a digital coupon. I'm so irritated, I don't even know. Like, what is going on over at Target?
Once buyers have cut back on snacks, switched to basic ingredients, and started calculating every meal, promotion should be the thing that helps them breathe a little easier. We're still told to wait for a sale. Use coupons, buy one and get one free, or switch to a cheaper brand. Many families have done exactly that. They plan meals around the weekly ad, shop at several stores, and only buy meat when it's on sale. But what happens when those money-saving tools start getting weaker too? In the past, you saw a BOGO sign, picked up 2 items, and checked out. Now sometimes you have to download an app, create an account sign, and find the right offer, activate it, and buy the exact size. After all that, you still have to check whether the register actually applies the discount. For people with extra money, this is just annoying, and they can pay full price and leave. But for a senior living on a fixed income, or a family counting every item a few dollars, can determine whether that carton of eggs stays in the cart or has to be put back. At that point, the only thing really getting reduced may be the customer's patience. Coupons don't feel like savings the way they used to either. 50 cents off is still a discount, but if the price of the item has already gone up by $2 or $3, that coupon doesn't take you back to the old price. It just makes the new price hurt a little less. Then there are offers that require you to buy 3 sec 4 or even 5 items. The buyer only needs 1 box of cereal, but has to spend more money on 2 other boxes before it can be called saving. A promotion that makes you spend more isn't necessarily making your budget lighter. Of course, digital coupons aren't always bad. They can help stores send the right offers, reduce waste, and manage inventory better. But the lower price shouldn't be reserved only for people who have the right phone, the right app, and enough time to deal with it when the system doesn't work. And the story doesn't stop with promotions. Even when buyers understand all the conditions, the familiar item may no longer be on the shelf. The store is still brightly lit. The shelves still look full. But somehow it feels like there are fewer choices. Budget brands disappear. Smaller, affordable sizes are gone. Customers are left with bigger packages, more expensive products, or the store's own brand. Supermarkets have reasons to narrow their selection. Fewer products mean inventory is easier to manage. There's less expired stock. They can order larger quantities, and they can focus on the items that sell best. That isn't necessarily bad. A more streamlined selection can sometimes help a store keep prices lower. But the problem starts when the product they remove is the cheapest option, or the only item that works for people with allergies, people on a low-sodium diet, or seniors who need smaller portions. The shelves can be full while your choices are still empty. A family walks in to buy something cheap. That item is gone. The only option left is discounted only if they buy 3. The coupon is buried in an app. In the end, they're left with only 3 choices: go over budget, buy more than they need, or buy nothing. Food prices have already made the cart smaller. Now, promotions that are hard to use and fewer choices are deciding what buyers are still allowed to put into that empty space. And even the last item they decide to buy is sometimes sitting behind a locked door. Good prices are already hard to find. Coupons come with all kinds of conditions. Familiar products are slowly disappearing too. And even after you find the right item, accept the price, and are ready to pay, there is still one very simple question: can you actually get it off the shelf? Because in many stores, the item is sitting right in front of you, but it is locked behind glass. The store wants to stop people from taking products without paying. That makes perfect sense. The only problem is that sometimes they also stop the person standing there with a card in hand. The customer presses the button for help. Nobody comes. They look around, find an employee, and then get told they have to wait for the person with the key. Waiting 1 minute is understandable. But the customer has no idea whether it will be 1 minute, 5 minutes, or even longer. And most people do not go to the supermarket to complete an administrative task. Some are shopping during their lunch break. Some have to pick up their kids. Some have just finished a long shift and only want to grab what they need and go home. This is not the employee's fault either. One person may have to help at checkout stock shelves, handle online orders, and run across several departments with only one set of keys. They did not design the system, and they do not decide how many people are working that shift. But the customer still has to make a choice. They can stand there and wait, or they can go to another store. They can pull out their phone and order the item online. Some choose a substitute that is not locked up. And a lot of people simply think, forget it, it is not worth it. This is the kind of revenue that disappears very quietly. No product gets scanned and canceled. No receipt says the customer changed their mind. The buyer simply turns around and walks away, and the store may never know it just lost a sale. A locked case may protect a bottle of shampoo or a box of medicine. But if that experience makes the customer buy their entire list somewhere else, the store does not lose just one item. It may lose the whole cart. That is the paradox. The product is still sitting safely behind the glass untouched and unstolen, but it is not being sold either. Locked cases are not always a bad idea. With enough employees and a fast response time, they can work. But locking up products and making customers search for someone to open them is no longer protection. It feels more like a display area than a store. And while some people are buying less because they do not want to wait for a key, another group is growing too. They are buying less because their bodies simply do not want as much food as before.
Worse before it gets better. So gas prices are obviously climbing. Groceries will be significantly higher than they were because of diesel prices, diesel fuel prices being up as well, and we transport the majority of our food via semi. Travel and activities that maybe used to feel manageable are going to feel out of reach if they weren't already.
So now we got a shortage of oil. All of a sudden now we got a shortage of oil. Same amount of damn oil. They gouging the hell out of us, man. Just going to skyrocket with the damn price of oil. And it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous and ridiculous. On top of the goddamn price of food, you're trying to feed your damn family. Now you can't even goddamn get to damn work because of the price of the damn gas we got, man.
Even if supermarkets cut prices and shoppers remove every unnecessary item, there is still one expense outside the cart that can decide how full that cart gets to be: gas prices. Because before buying food, a lot of Americans have to drive to work to earn the money that pays for it. Their paycheck has not even reached the supermarket yet, and the gas station has already taken a piece of it out in the parking lot. These numbers do not represent every state, but they reflect what people actually care about, not at the nice-looking national average on television, but the number they see at the gas station. They have to visit every week. 50 cents may not sound too scary by itself on the sign, but with a 15-gallon tank, every fill-up costs an extra $7.50. A family using around 60 gallons a month will spend an extra $30, and that $30 is not spare money. It could pay for meat for several dinners, eggs, milk, bread, or fruit for the entire week. The gas station does not have to step inside the supermarket to make the cart smaller. It only has to take the money before you get there. In late July, ALA reported that the national average price for regular gas was about $4.11 per gallon. Just a few days earlier, an AP report warned that higher fuel prices were continuing to put pressure on both drivers and the transportation of goods, and that is only the second hit. Vegetables, meat, milk, and frozen food do not magically appear on the shelf. They have to be harvested, processed, kept cold, and transported by truck. EIA data showed that the national average diesel price had climbed above $5.13 per gallon during the week ending July 20th. That does not mean gas goes up today and every food item immediately costs more tomorrow. Businesses may absorb part of the cost, negotiate with suppliers, or temporarily accept lower profits. But if fuel stays expensive long enough, someone in the chain has to pay that bill. And consumers have every reason to worry that part of it will eventually show up on their receipts. That is the most painful part. The gas tank takes money first, and the grocery aisle may take even more of what is left. Americans have already cut trips, changed what they buy, and counted every gallon. But how many more times can a family keep adjusting before there is nothing left to cut? We cannot control gas prices, food prices, or the way supermarkets design their promotions. But there are still a few ways to hold on to more of what is left in the budget without turning every grocery trip into a 3-hour investigation. The first thing is not to look only at the big number on the package. Look at the unit price, how much you are paying per pound, per ounce, or per item. A $3.49 package is not necessarily cheaper than a $4.29 package if there is much less inside. The packaging can change colors, print the word savings in huge letters and make everything look appealing. But division is usually more honest than advertising. You do not need to memorize the price of everything in the supermarket either. Just make a list of about 10 to 15 things your family buys, most often eggs, milk, bread and rice, chicken, coffee, frozen vegetables, or whatever, always shows up in your meals. For each item, remember 3 price levels: the normal price, an acceptable price, and a genuinely good price. Once you know what a dozen eggs should normally cost, a red sign will not convince you just because it says sale. Then combine different ways to save, but only use the ones that actually fit your needs. Store brands may cost less. Coupons can help. Membership programs are sometimes worth using. Seasonal produce usually costs less. Buying in bulk can help too, but only when your family will use everything and has enough space to store it. The rule should be very simple. Make the list first, look at coupons second. An item on sale is not a savings if it was never part of the plan. Buying 5 boxes to save $5 does not make sense if you only need 1 box and are already short on money for dinner. Discounted food that gets thrown away was still bought with the real money. Do not drive all over town just to save a few dollars either. Saving $3 in the store and then spending $5 at the gas station is not a win. And watch out for shrinking products. The box may stay the same size and the price may barely change, but the amount inside has gone down. So for the things you buy regularly, check the number of ounces, pounds, and servings every time. You do not need to check every cent. Focus on the lines most likely to be wrong meat sold by Weight BOGO deals, digital coupons, and sale items. These steps cannot turn a budget that is falling short into one with money to spare, but at least they help make sure every dollar goes towards something that actually feeds the family. Americans are not buying less food because they no longer need to eat. They are buying less because more and more people are no longer willing to pay more for smaller packages, promotions that are hard to use, products with less transparency, and a shopping experience that keeps making them lose trust. Retail depends on consumers believing that the number on the label is accurate, the weight is real, and the price they see is the price they will pay. That trust is not guaranteed. It has to be earned through every accurate label, every clear transaction, and every time a store takes responsibility when something is wrong. This is not just a story about the grocery industry. It is a story about American buying power being worn down week after week. How has your family's grocery bill changed over the past few years? Are you buying less, switching to cheaper brands, or completely cutting out things you used to buy regularly? Leave a comment below. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next video.